My channel. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this dress, right? um so we are going to start with drafting the pattern for the top part, and this is what I'm trying to make here. So we are going to be drafting the top. The first thing you're going to do is just to get your pattern paper, mark half an inch at the top first, and then you're going to mark from after that half an inch, you're going to mark that point to your bust line. For me that's 10 inches, and then that point again to your under bust. For me that's 14 inches. That point again to your waist. For me that's 17.5, and then I added extra half an inch at this point for my seam allowance for the bottom part. So if you look at it now, you'll see it. So from this point, after that half an inch is 10 inches, next under bust is 14, and then next thing is 17.5 is my shoulder to waist, and then I have half an inch for my sewing allowance. So guys, after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to insert my shoulder measurement, which is going to be 16 divided by 2, which is 8. I'm also going to bring it down here because my armhole goes from this point to this point. So my armhole is first you're going to come down here 1 inch of shoulder slope, right? And then after that you're going to insert your armhole. So my armhole is 18 inches divided by 2. That's going to be 9. So that's why I marked this down here. But if yours is not there, just mark it on the line that you have. I just mark this so that I'm sure that when I draw that straight line, that the distance of this point to that straight line is still that 8 inches. So guys, now I'm going to mark a straight line all the way down. After that, I'm going to insert my neckline. I'm going to use 3 inches basic neckline, connect it to this shoulder slope that I have here, and then I'm going to also go ahead and put in my bust measurement here, my bust divided by 4, which is going to be 10.5. Mark that here. And then after that, the next thing you're going to do is to find halfway through this point. For me that was 9 inches, right? Halfway through that is going to be 4.5. On that line I'm going to go in by about half an inch because this is your front armhole. Connect this first point with a straight line, and then connect this point with a straight line, connect the rest with a curve from your bust measurement to this point. So guys, after that, from this edge I'm going to insert my bust measurement divided by, sorry, my nipple to nipple divided by 2. So that's 4. For me, nipple to nipple is 8, divided by 2 is 4. Then I'm going to add half an inch to it. So instead of marking it here, you're supposed to put it down here, right, on my waistline. And then I'm also going to put it also on this line here, on my under bust line, waistline and under bust line. And then I'm going to come down 1 inch from my bust line here, 1 inch from there, and then I'm going to connect this straight line all the way up at this 1 inch mark here. And then you're going to mark half an inch on this side, half an inch on the other side, half an inch on this side, half an inch on that side, and then you're going to connect these 2 points to this part here. Connect this one and then also connect this one. So guys, now that I've marked it, the next thing we have to do now is to, so I drew this thing previously, but guys, this pattern here, I don't want it to go all the way up. So instead of making yours to go all the way up, it's going to demarcate the 2 cups. So what you're going to do is you're going to come down to go up from this line here. Don't, if you use this particular line, it's going to go all the way up to your chest and demarcate the two busts, right? But if you look at her own, you will see that her own stopped right under, just right under the bust, the same length almost. So what I'm going to do is just to go up here by about 2 inches or 2.5. It depends on you. I'm going to do 2.5. From here, I'm going to go up 2.5, and then I'm going to mark quarter of, I'm going to mark 0.25 here, just a little here on this line. And then from here now, I'm going to connect from this point in a curve to this point. So guys, this is mine now. And then the next thing I'm going to do is just to go ahead on the side. I'm going to insert my bust measurement divided by 4, which I already marked 10.5. I'm going to add extra 1.5 of seam allowance, or if you want to do 1 inch of seam allowance, that's also fine. Mark that here. Come down to my waist, divide it by 4, which is 8.5 for me. I'm going to mark it. Add back my 1 inch of darting, and then I'm going to add 1.5 of seam allowance. I'm going to mark that. So guys, now you're going to connect from your bust to the waist. So guys, now that we've marked it, if you look at her own, guys, you will see that if you look at this now, you will see that by the side, this doesn't have, like, it doesn't, normally when you're doing it, you're going to cover another side of the bust, but if you look at her own now, you see that it goes straight to the side. It goes straight back up to the back pattern here. You see the black part just goes directly to the back. It doesn't cup, like it doesn't give another side of the cup. So for that, if you want, you can keep yours straight all the way to the back, but I wanted to give mine like a little curve so that it can blend in with the back curve that is coming down. So what I'm going to do, you can do 1 inch, you can do half an inch, you can even do straight line, but for me, I'm going to do about 0.75 or half an inch from this side, go up, because remember my side seam is still, my seam allowance is still going to take up this whole thing. Remember, my seam allowance comes down all the way to this point, somewhere here now. So all this, if I go up 1.5, by the time I blend it down, I'll be left with, and sew it into the seam, I'll be left with whatever curve I have here. So you can even do 1 inch ahead of time, just so that by the time you sew it into the side seam, because this bulk of it will be in your side seam, so that once you sew that, what is left will still give you at least a little curve, because the curve is coming down this way. So guys, from this now, I'm going to just blend it down this way. So you see, I started with 1 inch. That way, when I'm done, I will still be left with about 0.5. If I take away this into the side now, I'll still be left with exactly what I need. But if I started with that 0.5, it will still, and then the seam allowance goes in, it will stop somewhere here. So now, guys, I'm going to just sew this, mark this into the bust. So guys, now that I've marked it here, the next thing we are going to do is the neckline. So guys, for my neckline, I'm going to do 3 inches, because you can see her own is like turtleneck. So guys, since I don't know the exact measurement I need to get my turtleneck, I like to start with 3 by 3. That's 3 inches of width, 3 inches of length. If I measure my neck and I find that the neck is too small, I can always go back and chip in a little, just to get exactly whatever I measured on the client or myself, right? So that's why it's better to start with just the basic 3.3. You can just slowly like chip off a little by the sides of the neckline and widen it a little, than going 4 inches or bigger and then it's too much. So I'm going to now curve it this way to this point, right? So that's my neckline, guys. This is basically our bodice now. So I'm also going to add half an inch for my shoulder slope here, right, for the shoulder, and then we'll go ahead and cut this out. So guys, this is it here. You see, first I cut out this side, the side seam here, removed it, cut out the armhole, removed it, cut the bottom part out, removed it here, and then the neckline from here, I've cut it out, and then the shoulder slope that was here, I cut it out. So guys, we have the basic bodice now. With this here now, we are going to separate it. So we are going to first go ahead from here, this 0.25 that we marked here, or you can follow this side, any one that is easier for you. So I'm going to go through this side and then keep my hand straight, go under the bust this way, and then cut all the way to this point, and then curve it this way. So guys, with this now, I'm going to fold away this half an inch of mine. You can just fold it away so that when you, or use your tape to just hide it out, right? Fold this half an inch of your darts, just fold it away. So this is now what I have to work with, right? Like as if you're trying to sew it, or you can leave it straight if you're a beginner and just sew it, cut this out and then sew it on your fabric. There's no need, it doesn't matter. This is just to make it neat, and if you don't want a seam, you just have to fold it away and then cut your bodice this way, right? This is what this is for. But then guys, this one now, we are going to also cut out this dart here. I'm going to cut this part out and then cut out. So guys, I've cut this out now, right? The next thing I'm going to do is halfway through this neckline, check what you have here. So for me, I should have about 5 inches here, right? So I have 5 inches. Find half of 5 is going to be 2.5, the center, and then I'm going to connect it all the way down here. So guys, I've connected it from half of this shoulder is 2.5 for me. I connected it down into this point, and then I'm going to open it up to the end, because you need to slash this fabric so that you can be able to add, because if you look at our own, you will see there's a little gather here. in between. So guys, once you slit this open now, it depends on you. You can do, for me, I'm going to be doing 2 inches in between here, or 2.5. It depends on you. You can do 2 inches, 1.5. If you want a lot of gather, just know that when you go to sew it, try to gather it mostly by the center where the dart is supposed to be. Don't go and do like, except your own design is just to slit it more and more. But if you're just doing this one slit, then just do like 2 inches, 1.5, at most maybe 3 inches. It depends. So guys, now that we've finished this here, we have our pattern for the front. So guys, we are going to move over to the back pattern. So guys, now the next thing I have to do is just to go ahead and mark my I'm going to go ahead. So for the back panel, the same thing is what I did here: 1/2 inch at the top, 1/2 inch at the bottom, and then in between I have just my shoulder to my waist exact measurement, that's 17.5. then 1/2 inch is here and 1/2 inch is here. I also went ahead and marked about 1 inch for my zip allowance, or 1.5 depending on you, from the edge of this point. And then from this line now is where you're going to start inserting your measurement. This is your zipper allowance, right? So your zipper allowance is here. You're going to go ahead and insert your shoulder measurement. So for me, divided by 2, so for me that's 8. Go ahead, add your 1/2 inch of shoulder slope, right? So sorry, 1 inch of shoulder slope. Insert your, so guys, the same thing I did for the front is what I'm doing here. Insert my armhole, which is on 9 inches. 18 divided by 2 is my 18 is my armhole, divided by 2 is 9. So just mark a straight line all the way down, and then you're just going to give it a curve. So I'm going to add my bust divided by 4. Mark that here, 10.5, and then from here, this is how you're going to mark the front armhole, just like this. Give it a curve here. No need to connect like we did for the front. This is how you're going to connect the back armhole. And then after that, go up here by 3 inches for your back neckline. Come down 1 inch for the back neckline, and then so 3 inches by 1 is what we did for the back. And then I'm going to connect it just like that to this point, and then connect my shoulder slope here. Give it the 1/2 inch again for the seam allowance. So guys, after that, this is just the basic back neckline is what we are drawing here. You're going to go ahead again, use the nipple to nipple measurement plus the 1/2 inch. Mark it here. Mark it here. This time around, you're also going to mark it on your chest line because the dart is going all the way up. So you're going to connect the 3 lines together, and then mark 1/2 inch on this side, 1/2 inch on this side, and connect it. So guys, after that, now this is our back, and then the next thing you have to do is just to go ahead and insert your seam allowances. So like we did in front, I'm using 1.5. So come down to the waist, divide it by 4, which is 8.5 for me. Add back my 1 inch of darting, and then my 1.5 of seam allowance, and then connect these two together. So guys, now that I've marked it, the next thing I have to do is just to go ahead and so you're going to look and see where you want yours to be. So guys, you see her own, you see the back. So guys, it depends on you what you want to do. So from the tip of the shoulder, I'm going to measure, let's say up to about 8 inches here. You can do 7 inches if you want yours a lot higher, and then blend it into the side. But I think I'm going to do, okay, let me do just 7.5. I took it up a little bit more. So it depends on you. You can measure from the tip of your back to where you want this part to start. You see, we are looking at the back now, where you want the center back to start before it curves into the side. But to get the side, you also need to remember what you had in front. So this is where we marked it in front, right? Remember, we went up. So this is our side seam allowance, that extra 1.5 we added for the side seam, right? So, and then this line continued all the way to this end. So guys, you see, what you're going to do now is measure what you have in front again and bring it to the back. So this was what we did. We did 1 inch above. Let me be sure that is 1 inch above. So bring it down here. So it's somewhere here, because you need it to be the same, so that once it goes into the side, it will be seamless, like it will look nice, because you don't want the one at the back to be going up and then it doesn't continue with the side seam. You want everything to look exactly as if it's a continuous stitch all the way. So you just do exactly the 1 inch that you did. Try to give it the same exact curve that you had before. So let me just use this so that I don't confuse myself. So I'm going to use this one also to blend it down. I think, no, instead of blending down here, this one you're going up. So you see, the one in front went down, but this one here is going down all the way to this point, right? So you're going to just blend it down this way. If you want, you can use a ruler, but you see her own looks like it looks smooth. So let me just use a ruler for my own all the way to the top. So I'm going to use a ruler. So guys, I use the ruler so that my own can look like, because sometimes to sew a curve on the sewing machine can be difficult, but if you're sewing a straight line, it's better that way. So but if you want yours to have a curve, just give it a curve. But for me, I think I'm going to just stick to a straight line going across the back. So scratch out this curve that I was trying to make before. So I'm going to stick with a straight line. So that means when it gets to the front, it's going to continue this way, you see. So straight line coming from my back, and then in front is going to give a curve going down. So guys, that's basically it. All we have to do now is just to go ahead, cut off the side seam, cut off our armhole, just like that, all the way to the top. I'm going to split this into two from where it is. So guys, you see what we did here? This is basically it. And all you have to do now is to cut out this part, cut out the shoulder slope, and it's done. So guys, what you're going to do is take this here now. You'll need 2 pieces of this, right? When you go to cut it, you're going to cut 2 pieces of this, 2 pieces of this for the 2 sides of your back, right? So guys, when you go to cut it, the only seam allowance you're going to be adding is down here. So you're going to add about 1/2 inch at this bottom here and 1/2 inch at this here, so that you can be able to use the two to join back and have your one panel. And then you are also going to consider your dart. Guys, if you want, you can fold away your dart, like fold away your dart this way, so that way you don't have to add that back and then trace your fabric just this shape, right? But if you think that will confuse you guys, please open it up this way and trace your dart out. It's just going to give you that line of the seam, but it doesn't really, to me, it doesn't matter. But if you feel like it will confuse you, it's better for you, like you know what you're doing. Just fold it this way, trace out your pattern, and cut it out. Guys, remember also that whenever we have a dress like this and you have a zipper at the back, I also like to go down here, but this one will come in later. I also like to go up by about 1 inch at the back, right? 1 inch at the back this way. But I do this after I have cut everything out, so it doesn't confuse me and I can maintain the shape of my clothes. So I like to remove about 1 inch at the back here to shorten the back of your clothes, so that way your back panel will not, so that your zip can relax better and the back is not dropping. Because sometimes when you make this type of dress, the flare at the back will drop so low. You need it to be up on your waist, like how the front is up on your waist. So you have to reduce the back also, because your back and your front is not the same length. So guys, that's basically it for this one. And then you have your front, like I explained before. For this front, the same thing. You're going to add 1/2 inch at this bottom here, something like 1/2 inch like this, so that you can use it to join this to this. And then when you're cutting this one, 1/2 inch also. And remember, this is going to be on a fold, right? This is on a fold. This end, this center here is going to be one piece of cloth. So guys, now we finished drafting the pattern. We are going to, on the next video, we are just going to try to cut everything and sew it together. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope I explained this well, and see you guys in the next video. Bye.